Hi, I'm Genevieve Spinella, and I run marketing for Spinella Pasta Bar.
And I'm Mirko Spinella, and I'm the owner of Spinella Pasta Bar.
What's up, guys? This is AJ Leon at ajleon.me. We're on our Rise of the Cubicle Farmer road trip around the country, and today we're in Azusa, California. I think that's how you say it, with the Pasta Bar, a little pasta shop here in a college town that's made quite a big splash in the social media world. So we're here with Mirko and Jenny. And we want to talk a little bit with them about where they started, because their journey in starting this restaurant is really interesting, and I think it'll be cool for everyone to hear. So, first question: where were you guys 3 years ago?
3 years ago, sales world, totally different.
As you say that with your chef's
yeah,
hat,
I know. Yeah,
in front of the counter.
Worked for an Italian company here in the U.S. It was a great gig. Traveled a lot. Quiet, nice salary. It was really nice. It turned out to be, the economy went down, and early last year went through a layoff, and that lasted for about 8 months. I did job hunting for about 8 months. Cooking has been something that I've done all the time at home, and it was something that I really wanted to do. Against her will. She never wanted a restaurant. It just so happened. Timing was good, and this place was great when we found it. And so it took us in a totally different direction. I mean, I never thought I would own a restaurant. Yeah, there's Pasta Bar.
So explain that, like, at a moment where you are laid off from your job, you looked for other positions, right? And then at that moment, you decide to take a big risk on a restaurant. Like, explain how that conception, like, what made you say, you know what, now?
And aside from the risk, we started this with a minimal budget. I mean, the budget was so small. I don't think I can tell you how small it was, but like it was small. I mean, most people open a restaurant, they need at least, they say about $350,000 to $500,000 just to get their anything started, and we did that with about maybe less than 10% of what the 350 is. Yeah.
Wow.
So it not only took a big risk, but at the moment that was the good thing to do, right? Yeah, no, she didn't like the idea at the time.
I jumped on board because at that point we had nothing left to lose. It was basically the risk was huge. But we were on the brink of even bigger disaster. So it was like, if we're ever going to do it, when are we going to do it? Right. And so that was when it was like, okay, I put all my caution to the wind, and let's jump in and let's see where this takes us.
And so we learned the whole restaurant business in about 3 months. Quite a bit of reading, and I can plug someone, right?
Yeah, sure.
Merengue Bakery, George helped me pretty much get a lot of the vendors in here. You didn't have to do that. He just set me up with people that did the chairs, a lot of the fire extinguisher stuff, which is extremely expensive. When you look at a restaurant, you think, oh, that's nothing. But everything costs a lot of money. I don't know why, but it does. And so he helped us tremendously, and he's a good friend of ours. And,
he became a good friend. He was actually just a great business that we frequent. It's a Cuban bakery in Monrovia, and we just happened to come in there one day and just happened to say, hey, you know what, we're doing this crazy thing, we're opening a restaurant. And he was like
entrepreneurs helping all entrepreneurs.
Yeah, he actually had just done the same thing. He went from a totally different career into just blindly opening this amazing bakery, which is doing great. And he was just like, oh, wait a minute, you guys are doing this? I got really taken by a lot of people along the way. Come in, bring a notebook, and I'm going to give you everything.
Wow.
And
he told me, come in, whatever, he set a date, and he just sit down, he got his Rolodex, and he opened all his Rolodex, give me the cards, I took down numbers. I don't think anyone will do that for anybody, especially when you don't know them. Aside from the fact that he's Cuban and my wife's Cuban, otherwise, he's just
now he's
great
a great
guy,
friend, but at that point, he was just another guy doing business.
So, that helped us a lot. But when I say we learned this business in 3 months, is, believe it or not, this is our menu, and this little piece of paper has been revised about
probably 25 times.
25 times in how long?
Right. In about 7 months. 8 months. Yeah. and it's just because you ended up learning so much.
Yeah.
And so if you see the first one, and maybe I'll show you later, but there were like 10 dots in here, and now there's about all those little dots with all the different options. So you ended up learning a lot from it.
And tell me a little bit about, and this is really, really interesting. I think a lot of people find this interesting. You started this place with virtually no budget for the normal expenses, not to mention marketing. So when you got into the marketing game and you realized, like, people have to come in the door, what did you guys have leveraged technology, I think, really, a lot for a startup restaurant. What's your marketing budget right now?
$0.
Let me just kidding. It's $0. It was $0, and it's still $0. We have been.
It's been $0. You've spent no money on marketing.
$0.
So explain what you have done. I mean, I've been here all day. People are coming in and out the door. It's not like you don't have customers. You have customers. You guys have kept open for
We've, and that's unheard of in this business, restaurant. We haven't been in the red since day one. We've never been in the red. Most people say that you need about 12 to 18 months before you get out of the red in a restaurant business. And the fact that we haven't been in the red, it's just unheard of.
That's insane.
And so with $0, all the work she's done, and with Facebook and Twitter, and I'll let her talk about that and how she came about. But
we just stumbled upon it. I've heard of Facebook and Twitter for a while, and I had done MySpace a few years back, and I thought it was kind of ridiculous, and I had put that all aside.
You were right. MySpace was indeed ridiculous.
So I had just put that all aside, and around the same time, we had a lot of chaos happening in our life at that moment, with him not having a job and the business and all this stuff that was going on. And so I just, for some reason, all of a sudden one day decided I should get into the social media stuff because the kids are getting into it. We have 2 kids. And I figured my kids are going to get into that, and I'm not going to have a clue what is going on,
Yeah.
And so on that premise, I kind of started looking at it, but it was right at the time where we started the business. And I started with Twitter before I actually did the Facebook. And it just dawned on me. It was like within a couple of days, like, this is amazing. No wonder there's all these companies that are, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and all this stuff. And so I just kind of started searching out. I just figured that we're in a college town. Our restaurant is actually, our back door opens up to the field of the community college here in the area. And if you go over to the side, the 2 schools actually meet up, the 2 campuses. There's Azusa Pacific University on the other side. So who's on Facebook but college students, you know?
Yeah.
And I just started kind of searching out people and searching and made a lot of amazing connections.
Yeah.
And then those people started spreading the word. And by the time we opened, that kind of started back in November, I think it was. And we actually opened in February. And at that point, we had a good following. We had, I think it was about 500 or 600 followers on Facebook, and we had 200 or 300 on Twitter.
Your first weekend, how many people did you have?
We served over 1,000 people the first. We debuted that Friday.
That's crazy.
We were only open Friday and Saturday, and we served over 1,000 people in that first weekend.
And it was all just new media, all Facebook
that was
and
it.
Twitter
We couldn't even afford to print a flyer and hang it on a door somewhere at that point,
We just got a sign. That's how little our budget
our
is.
marketing budget is. Yeah.
We had a banner with our logo on it until a month ago.
Until a month ago, yeah. We just put up our sign.
And yes, it's amazing. I mean, the first day, the people that came through here, it was just, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was standing back there, I'm like, how the heck am I going to do this?
Yeah.
There's just way too much traffic. And so, I mean, Facebook has grown so much for us, and Twitter, same thing.
And you guys even use Foursquare. I mean, you guys are one of the few places that are using Foursquare.
I actually
deals.
checked in 47 times before we opened. But then
she was the mayor before we opened this place.
I was going to say, tell me about the mayor story though. You have a mayor here.
We have a mayor.
That's insane.
She's amazing. Her name is Cupcakes on Twitter, and she actually runs a business out of her house, and she bakes cakes and she does amazing stuff. But she comes in here. I met her on Twitter, and we were friends before we opened the restaurant. She loves Italian food, and she lives down the street. It was just one of those things. She started coming in, and she became our mayor. And
she will not let it go.
She won't let it go. She actually tweets anything that she tweets about the pasta bar. She uses the hashtag #MayorForLife. And she had someone knock it out from under her the other day, and she came in here just livid. and decided that she was going to come in every single day that week until she got it back, and she got it back. And then if I post any sort of a new special or something like that on Foursquare, immediately I'll get a tweet like, uh-oh, my mayorship is on the line, or what are you doing? Why are you trying to get people to check in? And she's been fantastic. She's a great customer, and she's actually become a really good friend, and she bakes us cakes, and she's done all kinds of great stuff for us.
Well, let me ask you as we wrap up, I just want to ask a couple questions, with respect to entrepreneurs and people thinking about starting their own small business as a dream, because this is a dream, you guys doing it together. What do you like about your life now that maybe you didn't have before? Like, what's something right now that you're like, wow, this is, despite the struggle and maybe the money all that.
And aside from working here 14, 16 hours, just the fact that this is yours, it's like a baby, it's your baby. Yeah. And really, I don't mind getting up 6 in the morning, leaving here at 10. It's just the fact that it's yours, and you have the ability to either make it successful or just bust and just bankrupt the business.
But it's in your hands.
It's in your hands, and you can't say, oh, it didn't work out because so and so. No, it's not. Doesn't work that way. It's pretty much you. If you think it's going to work, and I believe this is going to work for us, and so far, we have a steady customer base that comes once, twice, 3 times a week sometimes, and that shows to me that
and you have a crazy mayor.
Works. Yeah, and I'm a crazy mayor. That works. The business works. We just got to find a way to infuse some more advertisement. But it's just the fact that it's yours, and most people won't start their own business because it's hard.
Yeah.
But when you get to a point where really, what are the choices you have? If that's your dream, just go ahead and follow it. There's a chance that if you follow that dream, it becomes yours, and you just gotta believe it that it's gonna work.
Well, let me ask you one last question for both of you. Like, if somebody, some young kid sitting in their desk right now, doing everything that the world told them to do the right way, and maybe they have a little dream that they want to start, and you had just a piece of advice, maybe 1 or 2 things to say to them, what would you say? What would you say is a piece of advice to go out and do your own thing? Maybe start a restaurant, within
When I was freaking out that we were going to do this, I really had a problem with doing this because, like I said, our situation was we weren't prepared to do this. And my mom told me my parents have their own business, and she said, I'm going to cry.
This is a marketing director. I'm just kidding. Any more minutes you have?
Come on. She told me to go for it. She wished she would have gone for it much sooner.
If it's something that you love to do, and this is what I love to do. I love to be behind the counter and kind of see customers and get them to know by name. I know a lot of them by name. It becomes like so personal. It's like I have this usual guy that comes, works for the county. His name is James, and he comes in every day. And every time I make something special, it's not on the menu. I tell him, I make this. Oh yeah, let me have it. And it just becomes like a family type of thing. And if that's what if it's something that you do, maybe a hobby that you like, and maybe it won't make money right away, which this place probably is not making me money right now, but it does pay for itself, pays for employees. But it's something that you really believe in, it's something you love to do. You should do it. Find a way. If you have a full-time job, start small, start part-time, but do it. I wish I could have done this a long time ago. I didn't have the way to do it. Not that I had the way to do it last year, but it's just I always put it off because you think, oh my gosh, opening a restaurant, you're crazy. I have
crazy.
I'm not a chef. Everything is stuff that I've learned. I like to cook, but I always love to be in the stove. And so if it's something you love to do, just do it. Start right away because it's going to be too late. I'm 35, and if I would have done this 10 years ago, I'd probably be in a better position now than I was 10 years ago. But do it. Don't wait. And 90% of the people will tell you you're crazy because it's not going to work or you're not going to make any money. But if it's something you love, you should do it.
Well, guys, that's the end of our interview with the Pasta Bar, a passionate little pasta shop here in Azusa, California. If you're around, I suggest you guys check them out. It is a sweet spot. They got a lot of things going on around here, and most of all, it's a lot of heart. So